Hi, my name is Richard Stuttle and I'm the author of Chasing Rainbows, The Stolen Future of Caroline Ann Stuttle. A little bit of background about me to start. Well, I trained as a chef many years ago, worked as a professional artist, spent many years around the hospitality industry, many years painting. My father's an artist as well, so it was due to his influence. Always interested in creativity and had a great love for travel growing up. Went away, used cooking, used the catering skills to go and work different places, to go and see different places around the world. Never really a writer, if I'm honest. 2002, my sister Caroline Stuttle decided to go backpacking, and we were all for it. I'd done a couple of snowboard seasons in the French Alps, we'd done a fair bit of travel, so we were confident, go off and see the world and take a gap year. She'd worked really hard. Off she went in November, and she made her way to Sydney and made her way up the east coast, and by April she was in a place called Bundaberg. And Bundaberg's a sleepy town. It was famous for Mon Repos, which is a turtle sanctuary, and Bundaberg rum, both fabulous. So she was there. That she was looking for some fruit picking work. She was travelling with a friend of hers. One evening she was walking home, so she was staying in a campsite, and on the other side of the town she had to cross a bridge, and the campsite was there just on the outskirts. And she got stopped for her belongings, and someone wanted to take a mobile phone, take a wallet, a money, a purse, and she wasn't willing to let those go, so there was a struggle. And unfortunately she fought back and lost her life. She was thrown over the railings. So we were, as a family, we found out the news. I was in the French Alps at the time. Devastating. I mean, what can you do? So we set up a charity, and it was called Caroline's Rainbow Foundation, and it was to work to keep backpackers safe, help young people travel in a safer environment. We didn't want Caroline's love for life and her memory and what she stood for to just go unanswered by us and by what she could do to help people after her death. So we didn't want other families to go through the same grief, the same tragedy that we went through. So we founded Caroline's Rainbow Foundation and worked tirelessly to sort of help young people travel in a safer environment. I've always been interested in writing, in a sense, although never been a writer. So when I travelled in 2003, I went over to Australia. I did 2 years on a gap year backpacking, and I kept a daily diary. I wanted to record the day-to-day life as a backpacker. One, I wanted to remember what happened because I knew memories faded, and two, I was journeying for Caroline. I was living the dreams that she never got to fulfill, in a way. So ever since that day, I kept, until this day, I've kept a diary every day. So that kind of encouraged my writing and encouraged me to think more about words and think more about what I wanted to say. The book, 2 years ago, I took a leap of faith. I stopped the work that I was doing and I dedicated time every day to write. I wanted to pull all this information together. Everything that we'd done as a family for the charity, all the things I'd been through with grief and bereavement, and then finding a level of understanding about the world and the different aspects to life, the different energies, the different people that you encounter. All of those things kind of really interested me, and there was a sense that I wanted to pull this book together, one, for Caroline's memory and for her legacy, two, it was to help people. As the charity's motto has been, follow your dreams. We encourage people to travel, and it's important that we do that as much as we can, and I thought the book will go alongside that. There was also a selfish reason to it as well. It was a cathartic process for me. I got to relive my travels back in 2003 to 2005, and then all the the other snowboard seasons and the different things and the working around Europe and all the things I'd done in my life, and got to kind of relive those and go through all of that, and certainly revisit the griefs, revisit my feelings at the time, things I probably hadn't dealt with properly, and how long-term grief affects people, because it's very different over time, and of course it's individual to everybody. So there was a sense of all of those things that drove me, and I just sort of felt something inside, now's the time to do it, you know. So that's how the book kind of came to be. But I never thought that even, you know, it was a dream to get it published, you know, whether people wanted to even read it, you know. Those are questions that I didn't really ask properly when I think back, and I didn't really realise the amount of work that goes into it, because it's, you know, when you casually say, yep, right, I'm going to stop and I'm going to write a book, you know, I had no clue about the publishing industry, how everything worked and getting a book published. So it certainly was a leap of faith, and I feel I've been incredibly lucky to find myself in a situation where the book is now published, or going to be published, and I think it's a fantastic thing, and I hope the outcome will be people will get an insight into travel, some of the tips and information that we've learned over 19 years of working with travel safety and working with young travellers, and hopefully, you know, understand a little bit about Caroline, about who she was and the special person she was to, well, not only to us, but to other people who, you know, her family, friends, people she met travelling, all of these people, she had an influence on their lives. And certainly now, you know, with the charity, she can have an influence to hopefully help keep people safe when they go travelling. So it's a legacy for her, and it's something that I feel very passionate about. I want to help people. I'm passionate to encourage people to see the world, because it's such a wondrous place, but to do so really with safety in mind, because I certainly, thinking back over my travels, you know, I went off to the Alps, I had no idea about the mountain life, about the dangers in the mountain environment, you know, I had no idea about, you know, going off interrailing around Europe, and we were naive at the time, and, you know, very, very lucky. So I feel, you know, if I can impart a little bit of information through the work the charity's doing or through the book, then people can understand the risks to their safety and hopefully get strategies and awareness protocols in place so that they could travel in a safer environment. That's really the sense and the essence of the book, I suppose. There's another side to the book, and another side to life that I've had the opportunity to explore over the last, well, you know, the last sort of 20 years really. So the book was published 19 years after Caroline died, and she was 19 when she died. So that kind of link, that kind of serendipity, that things kind of work in this kind of framework, that it just seems to have more meaning, and that kind of triggers my brain to work in the sense of I want to understand a little bit more about how coincidence comes about, or how people find themselves in the right place at the right time, because I'm a great believer in that. So, you know, when talking about things that people don't know about me, is, you know, they know generally I trained as a chef, I'm an artist, I work for a charity. I've worked many years in the hospitality industry, whether it be, you know, helping to open restaurants or working for companies or what have you. But there's a side where I explore through the art and through the creativity, where start to ask the more meaningful questions, I feel, in life that people, you know, don't always get an opportunity to ask because they're so busy with daily life or working life and family life and all of that, whereas I've been very lucky that I've had the chance to visit places and meet like-minded people who are asking those questions, to look at the philosophies that surround life and how we're actually come to be here, and the power that we've got when we're here. So, you know, connecting with the spiritual side of self and understanding why people are attracted to people. Why within those groups of people, because I've had it in the Alps, you know, there'd be a group of people and you all had the same love and passion for snowboarding, which was fantastic. But within that group of people, there'd be a few people that you really resonated with, you connected on a deeper level. And that always interested me, and that sent me down a road where, well, what does this mean? How are we connecting? What's this energy that I feel between you and me, and how is that working? So I got to ask those questions and do some work in those areas, which, you know, explored energy, emotion, feeling. What do we experience outside of the five senses? You know, there's more to the world, this alignment, this oneness, this unity. And connecting with all of that. So it's a real big part of my life that probably people aren't that necessarily aware of. So I was incredibly lucky as an artist. I got to design my own book cover, and this is an example of how the work kind of comes together, I suppose. I was really lucky that I got to just create something on canvas, and it would be wrapped around the book, so I had that in mind. But I had no idea how it was going to come out. I had no idea what I was going to paint when I sat down. You know, I wanted something a bit different, and we looked at, you know, the rainbow's obviously significant for us, and, you know, the countless times that I've seen rainbows at pivotal moments in life, and, you know, it adds that kind of increased confidence that you need at the time, or that reassurance that, you know, the family's with us. And, you know, even with Caroline gone, it's a sense that I can still feel her presence. I can still feel her around. You know, she's almost, I can feel her sometimes prodding me in the back going, no, I want that, or no, I'd like this. And certainly many times writing the book and painting this picture, that, yeah, I could find myself welling up, and I feel the emotion, and find myself in tears, or find myself laughing. And, you know, there's a lot of time as you're writing or creating art that you spend an awful lot of time by yourself, and you're lost in your own mind, in your own world, and, you know, you're in an altered state, and your awareness is raised. So the painting came about where we've got Sydney, and I wanted these ethereal colours, so the purples, the more spiritual colours, I suppose, because I feel that's where Caroline is now. She's in another world. She's in a spiritual place, and you know, the next world, wherever that may be. And then, of course, the dripping rainbow, so the colours, and it seems to be that it's come over Sydney, and we've got the lovely colours, but it's also sort of marking a city skyline as well, if you look at it in reverse. So it came out quite nicely as a painting. Something I never painted in that style before, so it was interesting. But it's a nice sense of freedom that you get, and certainly I felt that with the writing, that I could write what I wanted and then later on trim it back. And the same with the painting. You can throw whatever you want on the canvas, and then as you look back at the work, you can start to trim it and tighten it up where you feel it's necessary. I've always been interested in philosophy, and, you know, I've read a lot about different philosophers, different sort of modes of thinking, if you like, and it's sent me down a path of where I can expand my mind in different areas. I'll make different connections in my mind that I feel are important, and it's kind of sent me on a wonderful journey that I wish a lot of people would have time to explore, because it's really good fun. I love the endless debate. You know, there's no answer, there's no right or wrong. It's just whatever you think, and it's like it's capturing the power of the imagination, if you will. The more we imagine different things and different possibilities, the more that we can pull those into our reality. And it's just the same as creating art. You know, you start with a blank canvas. There's nothing to it, and it's up to the artist then to make something and create something, and using their imagination, using their intuition, using every aspect of themselves to create a work of art. And you certainly, if you look at some of the great artists, you know, your Rembrandts, your Turners, these people who were, you know, in another world. I mean, they're just absolute genius, just touched by the hand of God, if you will. But it's incredible to see their work and incredibly inspiring, but also incredibly humbling, because they're just wonderful, wonderful pieces of art. And it really does inspire, and it can teach us a lot. You know, through the centuries, art, the way it's evolved, and the different isms that have come about, the different ways of thinking, the modalities of thought processes is all changing, and it's wonderful that we're sort of seeking this new light and this new way of looking at the world, and different ways of looking at the world, and that's always interested me. And spurring me on to write again. You know, I'm churning out pages and pages now, but she'll, you know, fingers crossed, become a second book. And it's, you know, it's given me that enthusiasm. It's lit that fire within me that I can draw on the past life's experience, because, you know, I've been starting life as a chef, going through working with the arts, working with creativity, meeting people, traveling, and I've been very lucky in the places I've got to visit and the wonderful people I've met along the way. And it's now I'm probably at a point where I can draw on all of that knowledge, and draw on those truths, or those truths as they are to me, and hopefully put that down in paper and in paint again. You know, it's this series of paintings that are sparking from it, and it's another side that I feel is really worthy of, you know, certainly my time and people exploring, because it can give a lot back. It's a very rewarding way of spending your time, and I think getting the most out of this world. You know, if we look at what we're here for, you know, the question, why are we here? Why have we found ourselves in this body, in this time now, with our consciousness? Then, you know, our bodies are a vehicle for experience. That's the main use of them. That's what we certainly use them for, whether we be conscious of that or not. But, you know, we can touch, we can taste, we can feel, we can sense, we can see, we can hear. We've got all of these things that just allow us to experience the world. And, you know, there's a sense that the limitations of the mind it only enhances that experience in my mind. And certainly for me, and it's the joy of realization, or the joy of learning something new. And, you know, if we knew everything and we're all knowing and all powerful, then we wouldn't have those revelations, and that wouldn't touch us on a core level, you know. And it's about that evolution of who we actually are as people. You know, I believe that when we leave this world, we go to another world. We become energy, we become a frequency, and then we disappear. And I touch upon it in the book as well. You know, it's about that, you know, feeling Caroline with me at certain points in time, because I truly believe she was. Certainly her essence, her spirit, her energy, because, you know, I've had proof in a way. You know, I've felt it. You know, I could feel when she was in a room in this world, you know, I knew she was sat behind me in the room, and I can feel that same feeling. You know, as if she's sat behind me, or you know, the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, and that kind of thing it just reassures me that, you know, there's more to life than just our consciousness in this world and our mortal body. I'd say how some chapters came together really easily. You know, almost like I was just slotting things in place. So sometimes I felt when I was writing that I wasn't doing the one either typing or bringing the words into my mind. I just felt that was happening organically, almost like I was linked in on a different level, and there was just an inspiration running through me, almost like it was meant to be in a way. So it's certainly a good few times during the writing process that I experienced that, and I thought, well, yeah, these places just flowed. And certainly reading it back, I thought, did I write that? You know, so that was very, very surprising. And certainly now I'm aware of it, and I'm aware of that kind of altered state when you're writing. And it's the same for painting, that you can just slip into it and, you know, just let the words appear on the document in front of you, on your laptop or whatever, or scribbled on bits of paper as you're out having your morning walk or whatever it may be. So that was certainly something that surprised me along the way. And what suppose I learned from that. I learned that those moments are really precious, and those moments can offer a real different viewpoint on the book, or almost a different insight that maybe you wouldn't have thought of if your conscious mind was trying to analyse each word, because that part comes later. So I think for people, I mean, this is the first book I've ever written and had published. So one of the other things that I found really shocking in a way was the amount of times I had to read it and reread it and edit it. And you know, that editing process, it certainly isn't the favourite part for me, writing. You know, I've read it a good few times, the complete cover to cover, and it's hard work, and that's the discipline. That's the discipline that I think is really important when you're understanding about writing a book, and what needs to be in and what needs to be taken out, and taking out the bits that don't benefit. You know, I mean, I've probably left an awful lot in this book that could have probably been taken out. I mean, who knows? You know, the readers will probably tell me, but you have to be quite firm with the editing process, I think, because I had beautiful paragraphs that I thought flowed wonderfully, but they added nothing, you know, but they just were really nicely written, and you know, so there's an awful lot of words you delete. And so they're the two things. Is let the inspiration flow, and then be really, you know, have your logical brain on when you're editing, and the discipline to read it again, read it again, read it again. And so what advice would I give to inspiring authors or writers? Well, do it. You know, if you're inspired to do it, I took a leap of faith. I mean, yeah, I'm incredibly lucky to have it published, but I'd have done it anyway. You know, and even if it was just one copy sat on a shelf on my bookcase in my house, then I think that's incredibly rewarding, and that's the process. It's rewarding. I think that'll be the beautiful moment when, you know, you get that first copy and I've done it, you know, I've completed it, and here it is. And I think that's the best bit. So if you want to write, I certainly would write, and I would write as much as you can, but be aware that a lot of it will just be for yourself. But certainly just go and do it if you feel the urge to do it. It's like anything in life, whether it be writing or anything creative, painting or whatever it may be. If you feel the urge to do it, because it's going to give you a lot more rewards than things you don't want to do in life, and it's worth taking that jump, that leap. So what do I do when I'm not writing? Well, you know, I'm a creative person by nature, and I'm lucky enough that I've been able to understand that, and it's something that I know personally for my own, you know, satisfaction and happiness in life, that I need to do something creative. So certainly painting is huge for me. We run courses and workshops and things for people to develop their artistic ability, to understand more about self. I'm doing a project at the moment with a lady who's a musician, a fantastic pianist, and we're combining art and music, and it's such a great project, and something that I think people will really understand and really be able to use themselves in a way that they could further develop their own creativity. So things like that are of great interest. So anything along those lines. Another side of me is I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie, I suppose, really. So I like skateboarding. It's something that I've done since, you know, I was sort of 15 years old, 14 years old, and first picked up a skateboard, and I've carried one with me for years and years, and even now, you know, when the body's saying, stop skateboarding, and mine's going, no, you still like it and you still enjoy it, so, you know, make it happen. And it's the community that you meet when you go skateboarding, and you go to the park and you go and hang out, and everybody has this mutual respect for people who skate and, you know, who put the time and effort in, because it's hard, it's really difficult. And everywhere I've gone, and especially here where I live now, the guys, the community here is fabulous, and they've welcomed me in really with open arms, and you know, it's such a joy, and I've got a lot of respect for everybody who's part of it, and it's great. It's a really beautiful way to spend your time and to feel present, because you have to feel present when you're doing it, you know, to realise I'm here in this moment now. Otherwise you end up on the floor. So you really have to concentrate on being here. This is what's going to happen, and the joy of learning tricks and developing, and over the years, you know, practice, fall off, and then you finally make a trick, and it's a great feeling. It's very rewarding in that sense. And snowboarding gives me exactly the same. And it's, you know, after a lot of seasons, I did 10 years in the French Alps, working the seasons, and it was a great way to spend your time, and a great way to see the mountain and just find a bit of space in you know, in the vastness of the Alps. And it's such a beautiful environment, you know, connect with nature, connect with self. It's a wonderful way to explore the world and get the most out of the beauty that's around us.